Working in the Margins. Dealing with our challenges, assessing needs, and finding solutions. Short-term, mid-range, and long-term. Solutions can find us working in the margins. Today's world is a tough baseline. It's more difficult than ever to just exist or get by. And it's not getting any easier. Moving forward in today's world has become both an art and a science. Food, clothing, temporary shelter, long-term housing, short-term jobs, temporary employment, or long-range careers. It all takes some help and finesse. Not everyone can do it. It's an art and a science. And let's face it, not everyone is a scientist. Some people need more help than others. The basics like reliable transportation, internet, laundry, a regular shower, even water, those basics we all take for granted. Electricity, these are the challenges of those caught in the net. Are homeless, unhoused, housing challenged, living in the margins. People of all ages, young, middle-aged, senior citizens, entire families, male, female, all reasons and all walks of life. Anyone can find themselves living in the margins. Homelessness and the challenges that go with it are not going away, and we can't ignore them. It's just too expensive. We've got to do better. Take the next step forward. Tune in now and listen to Working in the Margins.
Hello, community. San Bernardino, Inland Empire. How are we today? It's almost the end of the week. I hope everybody's making it through. We're past hump day, so closer to the weekend, right? Closer to the weekend. It's been a heck of a week here in the country, especially in our nonprofit world. Welcome to Working in the Margins. I'm Shazette. I'm your host. And this is the Family Assistance Weekly Radio Show podcast. We come to you. I bring resources, and I bring special guests to the big table with me, and we talk about some of the resources and services that our agencies in our community in San Bernardino County that they provide. Updates about some of the work that we're doing here in the county. Some county going-ons, some state going-ons, and some city going-ons. So today my heart is heavy, but always hopeful. But there was a plane crash in Washington, and I believe there were no survivors. It was a plane and a military helicopter that crashed. So I want to offer all of my sympathies. I know that doesn't do a lot. You know, these people have lost, family members, went to work one day morning and didn't come home, and that's just tragic. We're not going to place blame, even though other folks are. We're not going to place blame. That's not what it's about. What it's about is those people that were left behind by their beloved family members and making sure that they're okay. That's what we care about. That's why I tell you, cherish each day. Tomorrow's not promised to anybody. We never, things are happening. Things happen. Hold on to each other. Take care of each other. And just, value all the time that you have with your families. We don't have to be fatalist, but we can make our lives so much better if we focus and prioritize our people, because they support us. We love them, they love us, they support us. So I do have a guest coming. They're on their way. And I'm going to ask Eric if he could go out and go and check on him while I riffed a little bit. I think they just pulled up. Eric. I know, I won't. You don't have to bleep me out. Thank you. Yes, I'm so excited about my guest today, too. It's Pastor Sharon Green from Victor Valley Family Resource Center in the High Desert. And she's going to come on and she's a partner to our agency Family Assistance Program on the HIRE program. So they do reentry. She's in the reentry world. She does reentry housing, stabilization, transitional. So she's going to come on. We're going to talk about that. But I want to talk to you all about how you're taking care of yourselves. This week we had some things happening. I don't know. I call them shenanigans, but it's too many people and lives involved for folks to think that it's a game. But there was a memo that went out saying that all the federal funding from the government for nonprofit work, anything that was government funded, it was suspended, stopped. People were going on to ELOCs and they couldn't get past to, draw money down or things like that. That affects my agency for sure. We have federal government grants. And our CEO took very care to let us know throughout the whole process how it could affect us, what we needed to do, which was advocate. We needed to call Congress people. We needed to call our local electeds to let them know that, this is not a game. We are out on these streets helping people with their real lives, that we are trying to stabilize people who haven't, who need help stabilizing, and kids. And we house youth, 18 to 24. We have our funding. We would have to cut programs that are vital to this community. So our CEO, he made sure to let us know, along every step of the way, that how we as a staff, how we as a team at Family Assistance could advocate to make sure that this was turned around. So I went live on my own personal. I was like, I pleaded with the government officials, don't do this. And I guess I wasn't the only one, community, because there was a memo that went out about noon that same day, and it said it was rescinded, or it was put on hold, or it wasn't. We had till Monday, and that doesn't help. But okay. And then there was another memo later on that day. And see, all of this is just distractions to take our eye off the ball. We have work to do. Who needed to be spending a whole day worried about what was going on back there with folks writing memos and not? And it just seems so frivolous. Why? What's the point? And why? So, this is the second week of this administration. So it just didn't make sense. Nobody has time. Distractions. So then a memo came out that said that a judge ruled it illegal. They couldn't do it. And I know, because I was like on my platforms all day, and people were posting and sending messages about how destructive that rescinding of the federal funds was going to be, how destructive it was already, because you created a panic and a confusion and a chaos amongst the folks that do the work and depend upon that funding. These people aren't rich. Social service people are not. We don't make a whole lot of money. You will very rarely find, millionaire, billionaire social service people. We function off of money, off of grants. And we function off of funding that comes from different agencies. It was just unstabilizing. I felt all day unmoored, and I shared that on my personal socials. But I also sought guidance and comfort from some folks that are older. They've been dealing with this. I'm not a youngster, so some folks were looking for guidance from me, but I had a hashtag, I'm too mad, I'll talk to you later. So it was just, so I needed to seek guidance for myself. So I had my good therapy session and everything. And the first thing she said was breathe. Because I think we were all holding our breath to see what was next. And that just keeps the oxygen from going to your brain. So you're not really focused on what you are working on. And it's hard to focus when you're worried about if next week your funding is going to shut down. And then we got a memo that said that it was rescinded. that there was no freeze. We could draw down the money. We could continue to take care of our clients, which was good news for everybody. What disturbed me the most is that series of interpretations of the memo, writing the memo, the interpretation of the memo, taking the memo back and everything, that it felt like there was a piece of paper that was floating around and in control of lives and children. And it was just so frivolous. And they were, oh, we're going to take it back now. We're going to, we need folks to be a little bit more cognizant and diligent about their actions, because these actions are affecting not just the lives of the people we serve, but the lives of the people that do the work. You have funding that pays staff. I ask people on my show, on my personal medias, are you ready to take your neighbors in, your families in, that are going to lose jobs behind, some folks have already lost jobs. They with the DEI ban, and sadly, the majority of the beneficiaries of the DEI ban are white women. So they just started, sniping at their folks, not realizing, because that's not the uneducatedness of people thinking that DEI was created and that it targeted African Americans and Hispanic Americans. That I tell folks, you got to read. You got to read. Read the before, read the middle, and read the after. So many people get stuck at the before. Why do we need DEI? Because they got rid of affirmative action. Well, who benefited from affirmative action? If they would have read, they would have saw that they're people, white women, they're disabled veterans, seniors, of no color distinction. Those are the folks that were the beneficiaries, and now those people are out of work, and or their job offers were rescinded because they were a part of a DEI initiative of, I'm watching 8 companies, huge companies that have Target, Walmart's always been kind of but some that are making the decision to end their DEI initiatives. And it's just, I know there's some Targets I walk into. Mine specifically is in Chino. I love my Target. I love my Target. Because I have people in there. I've been going there for so long. People know me. And when I walk in, I like to see that. I like to know that people in there know me. And it has to be at least 75% black and women in Target. And I just can't believe that that's what they mean to do, is to disenfranchise all these people. We're going to go to a break. And when I come back, you're going to get to meet my favorite pastor. And we're going to talk about Victor Valley Family Resource Center, which is up in the Victorville area, Hesperia area. So take it away. I'll be back soon.
This is KCAA.
Taheebo Tea Club's original Pure Pouty Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus does not grow on. As a result, it naturally has antifungal, anti-infection, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TaheeboTeaClub.com. Taheebo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TaheeboTeaClub.com or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TaheeboTeaClub.com.
This segment sponsored by our radio listening post in Yucaipa, Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce, where you can get healthy in the heart of Yucaipa. You'll find locally sourced fresh fruit, vegetables, farm eggs, honey, fresh bread, nuts, and for your sweet tooth, delicious ice cream and locally produced candy from licorice to chocolates, all to your heart's content. It's Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce, just down the street from Toscano's Pizza, between 13th and 14th on Yucaipa Boulevard. Open every day, weekdays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on weekends to 5 p.m. For more info, you can call 909-790-6106. That's 909-790-6106. Shop local with Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce. Tell them you heard it on this radio station and saw it on the DNA advertising screen inside the store. It's Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce.
For several years, KCAA has been marketing the Youngevity brand of nutritional and personal care products. Our experience with Youngevity has been 100% positive, so we are pleased to recommend them to you. Regarding nutritional supplements, we recommend Pollen Burst in the berry flavor and Tangy Tangerine 2.0 in the tablet form. For regularity issues, we recommend 3-Day Cleanse, and for personal care, we recommend Morning Hydration Cream. You can shop online for Youngevity at www.kcaateam.com, or you can order by phone by calling 800-982-3197 and tell customer support that you are part of the KCAA team. Youngevity is an American company based in San Diego. Call Youngevity at 800-982-3197 and ask about monthly auto ship that allows you to buy Youngevity products at wholesale prices. That number again, 800-982-3197.
KCAA.
Welcome back, community. This is Shazad. This is Working in the Margins. We're on KCAA. You can find us at 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. We are in the building of the Teamsters Local 1932. We have like a little media building over here now, Kamek Hall. Rest
They
in
can
peace.
also watch live on kcaaradio.com. They can watch the live stream as well.
Yes, thank you. I forget, because this does generate like a little video and it's on YouTube. So as soon as we're done, and as soon as Eric can get to it, he'll upload it, so look for that. And then I'll post it out when it comes out on my personals. But you can find anything that we talk about here, or flyers to the agencies that I have come and visit, and everything is going to be on my hashtag, Working in the Margins with Z. Hashtag Working in the Margins with Z. So I have the honor and privilege of I consider her my mentor. Yes. She's a wonderful guide, counselor. She's a pastor. She's a doctor. Yes. So, yes, we use, so I'm going to refer to her as Dr. Green today, because y'all know I got to give flowers. Dr. Green, Dr. Pastor Sharon Green of Victor Valley Family Resource Center. I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit, because I prefer that. I like to read biographies sometime if it's, but I really like for my guests to introduce themselves. That's the best way to get to know them. And Pastor Sharon Green, welcome.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
It's so good to have you here. So good to have you here. I'm really happy. So as I stated earlier, Pastor Sharon Green, she runs Victor Valley Family Resource Center. But Victor Valley Family Resource Center, VVFRC, is a partner to Family Assistance Program on the HIRE program. So they are a spoke wherein we're the hub. So we work together that way. But she's also been in the world of reentry, stabilization, transitional housing, and care for a very long time. And they're in the high desert. So again, welcome. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me, what's your role at Victor Valley Family Resource Center? And I know, but I'm gonna let you talk about yourself.
Well, and I'm not good at talking about myself.
Okay,
I
get
do
good.
But I am the executive director of Victor Valley Family Resource Center. But I founded the agency in 2009. We saw a need for housing.
Yes.
Saw that started understanding that when we don't meet the needs of people, then our whole community is jeopardized,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And so as a pastor, that is our job, to
Yes.
take care of the poor,
Yes.
feed the hungry, give water to the thirsty,
It's a mandate.
and clothes
Yes.
to the naked.
Yes.
And one of my favorite scriptures said, when I was in prison, you visited me. And so as a pastor,
Right.
that is a mandate,
Yes.
an obligation. And too often we get so busy having church and forget about the mandate.
Right.
And so it is my endeavor
Right.
to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our community.
Right.
Because how can we say we love a God that we haven't seen?
Right.
And see our brother in need and not meet the need.
Exactly.
So my endeavor is to make sure we're meeting the needs and giving them not a hand out, because too many people think what we do is just handing
Right.
out. But when I am unstable,
Right.
I need a stabilizer. And so we are the stabilizer.
Right.
And we have met the needs of, we've been in this business with the reentry population since 2010.
Okay.
One of the top agencies in
You are.
the San Bernardino County. We have also challenged cities regarding their
Successfully challenged.
Amen. Regarding their ordinances that they put on the books.
Right.
So you cannot house people.
Right.
It was, first of all, it was discriminatory.
Yes.
Based upon us as blacks being one of the largest populations or percentages
Yes.
in incarceration.
Right.
And so when AB 109 came out, then it made it appear that we were the ones that would be released.
Yes.
And that's
that
really
didn't
not
happen.
the statistic either.
That didn't happen. I know the community. When I come on, we talk a lot about reentry because with the higher grant and everything. But I don't think people really connect the need for the reentry population. But I've been trying to connect the need because how many prisons are there in the high desert?
Was it about 7?
Yeah. There are campuses. Our immigration detention center is in the high desert. So people don't think, just because the first thing they think is, West Valley or Glen Helen. No, we have whole complexes in the high desert. And people get out of jail every day. Every day. There's so many people that people get out of jail every day. Some of them have been in long enough that they are now homeless when they come out.
They've been released in homelessness. They don't ensure that they have housing.
No, that's not their
Or
job.
any place to stay.
Right.
Correct. We release you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's in the middle of the night.
It is. It is. And there's not a lot of resources, even for transportation, for folks to get picked up. Where do you go? Where do you go as a newly released ex-incarcerated person? So that's why I admire Victorville Family Resource Center, why I chose to learn about reentry with you in the high desert at Victor Valley Because I really didn't know anything. I knew the unfairness of some of it. I knew about mass incarceration and blacks and browns being, the most population inside. My brother, he had some issues with, frequent incarceration. So just like kind of like surface, and my opinion was, probably like everybody else's. It really didn't affect me. So, but. Some things happened in my life, and I felt like I really needed to focus and find out about that population. And I learned about you from just like the county. You are premier in the county, prominent in the county, and they're presented the opportunity. So I says, let me go. And you said, come on. So I went, and I learned so much from you and your staff. I'm try not to get emotional. What I learned what was the most important lesson I learned is that those people deserve love and a second chance.
They do. They do. And while we are forming opinions instead of connecting,
yes,
it's easy for me to draw a conclusion to a matter without knowing anything about the details of the matter. And I don't tell this story a lot, but I was incarcerated for a while.
Thank you for sharing, and I want you to be as comfortable as you want to be about sharing that experience. So,
okay, I was in a relationship with my husband was abusive, verbally, physically, and I was with him for 30 years, and you know how we as women will keep saying, oh, he didn't mean it, and he said he was sorry, and it was my fault if I was better, if I was more eloquent, if I was more silent.
Right.
And what a real wife should look like. Then he wouldn't have to do that. But it came to a point where my youngest son, former Marine, amazing young man, but we were at the house, and he got angry that his dad kept coming at me. He said, Dad, come at a man, come after me. He was 16 then. And when he hit him, my son hit him back. When he came down, I was on top of him. And so I was the one that left the mark, so they arrested me. And so I was educated. I worked for, I retired from GTE, Verizon, all those changes with that telephone company. And so it wasn't that I chose drugs, because I have never used drugs. I smoked weed. Let me quit lying. But it made me fat. So
the munchies, y'all. The munchies are real.
Yeah, I got hungry too much, and
I
so
know.
my weight is a problem. So it's like, that's not mine. But as far as people thinking, you got in that because of drugs and bad choices, and and the relationship to stay there was a bad choice. But I had 4 children.
Right.
And trying to raise them and trying to decide whether to be there and have my children, him a part of my children's life, or stepping back and being a single mom with 4 kids.
Exactly.
So it was a difficult decision.
Those are real choices we have women making every single day.
Right. And so we get angry because you stayed there, but you stayed there.
Yes.
Sometimes. And then the fact that I have grown up in the Pentecostal church, except on more church benches than I can even recall. But the fact that we were taught as a wife, be submissive, obey your husband, and then if the abuse happens, pray. Right? Yeah. And God will fix it. Well, and
talk to the people in the church that's telling you to stay in your marriage. And,
And you know, I'm not a fan of that. I don't. I don't deal with abuse well. And so when someone comes to speak to me, I usually, when there's a real problem, I refer them to a professional.
Right.
Because I don't want my emotional spillover to impact them in the wrong way.
Right.
And so trying to help them make the right decisions. But when we realize that no one ends up incarcerated because I just wanted to go to jail.
Right.
Or I wanted to start using drugs, so here I am.
Yeah.
things happen.
So
Trauma happens.
many things happen.
And so, as I went through my own journey, and it just so I still don't know why I ended up getting out. Never went to court. And it was in the middle of the night. They said, "Brown, roll it up." I changed colors on my last name. Brown, roll it up. And I had to ask somebody, "What does that mean?" They
Time
said,
to go.
"You're going home." And so when I left, I had children that I could call. My
Yes.
children are adults.
Yes.
And so I had adult children that I could call. But what about the people that are
That don't.
released and have no one to call?
No, they don't. No, they don't.
And
And they
so-
can't even leave the vicinity. They are homeless around. So where we are in San Bernardino is Sierra and 4th. We are right across from the Probation Day Reporting Center. And I learned about a week ago that there are a number of homeless folks that are staying here on ankle monitors because they are homeless. They're not in program or transition, but they can charge their monitor over at the building. So they stay homeless near here in order to do that. What kind of life is this? I shed tears. What kind of life is that?
It's scary because we're told that they cannot force them to have housing,
Right.
But they can't make that a mandate in
Right.
their
A
probation.
release, okay, a conditional
Conditions
release.
of release. And so we know that San Bernardino has the largest homeless population.
Yes.
I'm sure still. The city of Victorville, second
Still,
highest.
yes, second.
Still. And we did the point in time count, but as of the completed count of last year, we were still the second highest.
Right.
And so to release people into homelessness, that means they have no food, they have no water.
No.
The high desert has snow, it has rain, it has
Right.
the 4 seasons.
And they're in conditions.
And so you release them into the street.
Yeah,
And I have my own thoughts about that.
yeah. Me too.
Well, and I'm going to be okay to share,
Yes.
because what are they going to do, fire me?
Right.
But the fact that, for me, in my mind, it's a contradiction to have law enforcement be over housing, or whether you get it or not.
Right.
And so perhaps that may be a challenge that we need to look at.
Right. I think I agree. I've never really been a fan of law enforcement heading up homeless services in cities. I feel that there's enough nonprofits that are happily already doing the work. Law enforcement is a different mindset outside of. Now, I know there's officers, agencies that care about the people that they serve, but that is not their priority. Their priority is to protect the citizenry of that area. And that means that when your neighbors call and say there's homeless people on our streets, they're making us uncomfortable, it's too much, then law enforcement is up to law enforcement to alleviate that, get rid of that, make it disappear, keep the community safe. So it's a different mindset. There are folks that care, but I agree. And the housing that we look at, as far as permanent supportive housing, things look more like homes. They should look more like homes, not facilities. They just got out of facilities.
Correct.
And probation said folks don't want to go back into these facilities because it reminds them of, they don't want to go into shelters because it reminds them of being in the facility, in jail.
So then why are we looking at making the detention center in the high desert housing?
Right.
And we gave plenty of funding.
Yes, we
There's
did.
plenty of funding
Yeah.
for that. And so we send them back into the same environment.
Right. And ask them to
what?
change.
Right. Yeah, that's
Ask them to change. Ask them to be different and function different in society. And why wouldn't you? Because you've been incarcerated. You've learned your lesson. You're supposed to have learned your lesson. I know we had a client. I don't use names or anything, but we had a client. He was a good guy. Had been in for 30 some odd years. Had a job. good, decent job. He was even helping other clients get jobs at where he worked up there in the high desert. And I had an opportunity to talk to him quite a few times while I was up there, and I was learning. I learned a lot from him. But what it looks like for a young kid that's 18, 19, or 20 to go into prison and come out 30 years later, what that takes to stabilize, you can't just assume that they're gonna want to, they can do better, want better, have the tools to do better, to change. You release them, and sometimes they go right back to what they were doing because that's how they took care of themselves for a long, long time before they got caught. I admire Victor Valley Family Resource Center and Family Assistance Program when I came here because we do housing in houses. Why is that important?
Because you want them to feel like I'm at home. I'm at home. It's important that it's a stabilizing place. When there's connection and when there are others there that's going through the same journey, and then the staff are there. We have full-time staff.
Right.
And so the purpose of that, though, is if something happens,
Right.
we're the first to know.
Right.
And so we assure our community that we're here, and so we're on top of things.
Right.
But the other side to that, a lot of our clients end up saying, "Hey, Mom," when they see me when I walk in. Or if something's going on, they'll reach out to me.
Right.
But they need to feel that someone cares enough about them. When you are incarcerated at 17, 18, as an adult, and you end up getting out 30 years later, 20 years later, 50 years later, what must have occurred before you went there?
Right.
In your home, in the outside world, to make that your place that you end up almost with a life sentence.
Right.
And so when they get home, they get out. They need a home environment.
Yes.
Of love, people that care. I have a prayer call on Thursday mornings at 6. And so one of the comments that was made on the prayer call was a heart position. When we're engaging with people who have been formerly incarcerated, they don't have a clue what's happening. Some come out, never have used a cell phone.
I know.
Don't know what to do.
Right.
They haven't gone
Everything
in a
is
Costco.
digital and electronic and social medias, and it's amazing how how much life happens and develops. Some of them are coming out to grown children that they can still have access to, but they don't have relationships with. It's what does VVFRC offer to your clients while they're in your care to help them transition back into?
We offer therapy because coming out of one environment into another, one that's totally different, cause a whole nother set of traumas for them. And so we offer therapy. We offer work readiness. We help them build resumes. We help them do job searches. We encourage and motivate. Because the government will not allow us to do 3 meals a day, we give them 1 meal.
Right.
And that's dinner, because that's usually the heaviest meal.
Yes.
And so we offer them fellowship. And sometimes they'll say, you're a pastor, can you pray for me? And I jump all in. Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
And so, can I tell a story about a young man?
Yes, you can. We're going to take a break. When we come back, you're going to tell the story because I want to hear it. And we're going to close out. Well, we got a little while. We got a little bit. But I have some really, I want you to be, I need inspirational. This is my personal session, y'all. I get to. So when we come back, we're going to continue to talk to Pastor Green. Thank you. Take it away.
KCAA.
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
No, it's Super Roth!
Okay, a gimmicky opening for a commercial about Super Roth Universal Life Insurance, but I'm sure it got your attention. Now, what is a Super Roth, you ask? It's a permanent indexed universal life insurance that's totally liquid and easily accessible once it matures. Can be used to supplement retirement savings or a death benefit, or both. Has no income or contribution limit. Has no 5-year rule like Roth IRAs. Has no 10% penalty for accessing the funds before age 59 and a half. Oh, and the average historical returns are 5 to 7% annually, tax-free. Super Roths also lock in gains, which means you don't lose your money when the market is down. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds super? Super Roths are the way of the future, specifically your future. To see if you qualify for a Super Roth, go online to thesuperroth.com.
Was your car involved in an accident or just need help with dents? All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers, in business for over 30 years. Their highly trained staff and certified technicians and friendly staff are the best in the business and treat each car as if it was their own. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers are family-owned and offer state-of-the-art equipment and tools to ensure optimum results. They use the latest technology in computerized color matching and specialize in frame repairs. With their modern laser measuring systems, they're OEM certified, and they have 4 locations to serve you. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers offer rental car assistance with free drop-off and pickup services too, and their work has a lifetime guarantee. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers are in Norco, Eastvale, Moreno Valley, and in Fontana. Call them at 1-800-61-MAGIC. That's 1-800-61-MAGIC. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers. 1-800-61-MAGIC. All Magic Paint and Auto Body says, drive carefully.
Are you graduating high school soon and wondering what to do next? College is one option, but why not consider the high-paying jobs made possible by Union Power? Labor Union Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get you into the high school to high-paying job pipeline. You'll learn all the skills needed to excel in opportunities across industries. Visit 1932trainingscenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingscenter.org.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at kcaaradio.com.
Hey, San Bernardino, this is Shazette, working in the margins. This is the Family Assistance Weekly Radio Show podcast that generates later on. We're on KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. And after my show is another show, is Mr. Don Williamson, the tax saver. I'm not sure if he's going to be live today or if he's going to be a repeat. But he's a whiz about money and saving money. He wants to help the everyday person save money on taxes. He was the county assessor for 12 years, elected. So he's very knowledgeable, whip smart. So check out his show after mine. It's at 3 o'clock here on KCAA. So welcome back. I'm having an amazing conversation with my mentor and friend, Pastor Sharon Green, Dr. Pastor Sharon Green. And she wants to share something with us that I think is very topical about, sometimes we need real live stories, real live to understand the situation. And we were just talking about the reentry population. So please share what you were going to share before we went to break. About your client.
Thanks so much. We had a gentleman that had a life sentence, and they released him early. They released him into our home, our housing. And he was a white supremacist. I love telling people that. And so And as you can tell, I'm black.
We're brown people.
Brown people.
Black people, yes.
And so when he got there, it was a little awkward for him. And you know, we always jump to our guarded, covered
Yes.
mode. And so as we welcomed them in, I try and be there when they come.
Right.
And so as I walked in and introduced myself, and he was kind of standoffish, but I told him, I said, we're praying for your success. And so as he stayed there a little while, and he started getting comfortable and realizing that it didn't matter what his title, what he called himself when he came in, because we were showing him the love of God through what we were doing. And so he ended up asking, could he come to my church? And came
I know
to the
this
church,
story. Yes.
gave his heart to the Lord, and so became an amazing young man. Got a job and gave back to the community and went out and helped give out food and made sure he was on top of all of that. But he got sick in the house one day, and they rushed him to the hospital. I'm trying not to get emotional. And he ended up passing. I got a phone call from his mother and saying, I don't even know what you all did, but when my son reconnected with me, I didn't even know him, because that wasn't who went in. And she thanked us, tears rolling down. But I talked to my staff, I said, here's the real truth of the matter. We may be the last touch that some of our guests receive. And what do we want that touch to be?
Exactly.
We have to work hard and making sure that we have invested and gave everything we could to change lives.
Yes.
And so, and that story is my story that I always talk about, because that young man came. It was so amazing. And I became mom because of the state. I was one there, and his mom said when he came home, he started talking to me about a Mrs. Green. I said, that's me. He said, you're his other mom.
That's why this work is so important.
Correct.
It's transformative for people, male or female reentry. We deal, family assistance is mostly women reentry, but male or female reentry, it can be transformative to them, because sometimes they are transformed in jail into something that makes it's a survival mechanism. It's a survival. They may not have even been that hardcore before they went in, but being in prison in survival mode, maybe you had to become a part of the white supremacist group or the the gangbanger group, and when you come out, they don't have those connections to those people. That was an incarceration thing. So when they come out, sometimes they're going to look for community that agrees with some of that and everything. But man, we get them. You get them. So at the perfect time where you can help them make better choices, better decisions.
Absolutely.
I love how many of your clients not only come out and go into society, but some of them work for you.
They do.
They've come on staff with you.
They have.
And they are vital and valuable to your agency. Why is it important to have lived experience on your staff?
Because when you're trying to convince someone they can change, it's easier to show them, to tell them. And so to be able to say, I made it through, and this is my background.
Right.
And I fight every day to stay in the right place.
Right.
So it's going to take a fight, and I'm here with you to support you. And if I made it, you can make it. So it's critical that there's someone there with that voice.
Yes. I with our ladies, we have ladies. They've come on the show. They're with our Next Step program. We hire definitely folks with lived experience. Some of them were former lifers, and I have different conversations with them about the reentry population. Real conversations. I can talk to anybody out there in the community. Oh, we do reentry work, and I talk to the ladies on our staff, our team, and they tell us things that aren't really known out in the community. You know, what they need, how they function, what their mindsets were, why more women come out and go back to their abusers, or back to wherever their kids were, or back instead of trying to come into transition. We take women and children, but it's difficult. Women come out and sadly they go back into care, or into relationships. We really, really value. So I know your staff. They are dear people to me, always will be. They love you. They respect you. And a lot of them, they will go to the wall for you. As a leader in our community, as the CEO of this agency, how do you feel responsible for these people that depend on you too? How do you feel? What is it? I know you're mom to a lot of them, but why? Why do they say that?
Because I'll take it to the mat for them.
You do?
I will. Because if I don't fight for them, if I don't believe in them, then why should they listen to anything I have to say?
Right.
So my voice is not only the voice to stabilize them, it is a voice to our community.
Right.
And so as I am engaging with government officials, and we have gone all the way up to the Department of Justice, talking about this matter. But if I don't stand up and speak for them, and if I don't understand their heart, then I'm a failure at what I do.
Right.
And my heart is, I want to please God.
Yes.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And so when it's over with, I want to make sure that that's my testimony.
The mandate is real.
It is.
And I see that in you. I want to give you your flowers. We got a couple of minutes. So get comfortable real quick. I'm so proud of you. I am honored to work with you in this business and this world of social services. Not just for reentry, but for everybody that we serve and everybody that we help. You help senior citizens and things like that. Housing, you do housing where a lot of people are afraid to do housing. And that's why I really, really, I'm like, I got to go learn something from. God was pushing me that way. You have an amazing strength about you that makes people want to listen to you and trust you. Your heart shines through and comes through in everything that you do. I think we owe you a huge appreciation because you keep other folks in this work, in the reentry population. You make it not so scary, because how could it be so scary when you, little thing you, with the big heart, you run into the den every single time? So I want to thank you for coming on today. This has been my privilege and my honor. And I love you. From my heart, I love you as a person, as a friend, as a human, as a sister in this business. And I want you to know that you are greatly valued and appreciated in our community, Dr. Pastor Sharon Green. And thank you for leading Victor Valley Family Resource in this community. You've done excellent. So here's your invisible flowers.
Thank you. I take them.
Thank you so much, community. This has been a special privilege for me, and I'm glad I got to share this with you. So I've run out of time, and I'll be back next week. And have a good weekend. Stay strong. Don't let the shenanigans, get you down. Have a great weekend. San Bernardino, IE Community.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda.